Hey, thanks for joining yoga practice with Yogi Way. If you've made it through this week's practice with me, we've worked on our jump backs and our jump forward and jump throughs. We've done a lot of our crow practice. Today, we're going to be putting a lot of things together. Vrschikasana, the scorpion pose. This is a challenge pose for everybody at any level 2 or 3 class. And so we're going to begin with our sun salutations with emphasis on the back bends, starting in our sun B, skipping right into the sun B, breathing into the chair pose, letting the hips squat, finding our breath, lifting the floor of the pelvis as we notice the diaphragm breathing, the muscle coming onto the back. Sinking those hips low as we lengthen the spine. Let's bring our hands down to the mat. Taking our weight onto our hands, you can step or float back into any form of pike or plank. Lowering down for Chaturanga Dandasana, and we're going to hold our Chaturanga at the bottom just for our warm-up, just starting to get those arms loosening up and ready to fire. Let's come down onto our bellies. Point our toes. Our hands reach for the heels as we open the heart. A gentle back bend in the beginning. Hands beneath the shoulders. The low cobra. And then push back into the downward facing dog. Pedaling out the feet. We're going to take a moment here trying to locate the muscles on the back, finding a flat back, opening the heart, looking at your toes, looking up at your belly button, feeling the forward fold in the down dog. We're going to raise the right foot up behind us, lifting the heel as high as we can, stepping it forwards between the hands. Our warrior one. Squaring the hips and shoulders, reaching our arms overhead, finding our strength in the foundation in the feet, and finding our strength and moving that to the core as we bow down, bringing our hands to the inside of the foot, lifting that front foot up and off the mat, maybe lifting that back foot up and off the mat. The back foot comes back down, foot comes back out behind us. We're going to bring our right foot out to the right for a fallen triangle, or Kundanyasana B if you'd like to lift both feet and find the arm balance. Stepping the left foot back, the right foot raises high behind us, and we'll find our downward facing dog, bringing our heart over our hands, Chaturanga Dandasana from plank, just to clear it out. Hovering at the bottom, bringing our heart down to the mat. Our hands reach for the heels. We open, looking up, lifting the feet this time, squeezing the feet together, lifting our hands, maybe binding the hands behind the back, opening the heart. How much height can you get? And we'll bow, bringing our hands beneath the shoulders, pushing up into a low cobra. Savasana B, high cobra, upward facing dog, opening that heart, and finding our down dog, pedaling the feet. Let's place our weight into our right foot, lifting the left foot up behind us. Stepping this left foot forwards, finding our warrior one on this side, squaring the shoulders, squaring the hips, opening the heart, hands to the heart, hands grow tall, feeling a strong foundation, the strength in the feet, and moving that strength from the feet to the core as you squeeze the hands together overhead. Keeping strong in the core, we'll bring our hands to the inside of this leg, wiggling the foot off the mat, and maybe staying here, maybe lifting the back foot up off the mat, taking a one-legged crow. Back foot down, lifting that left foot out behind us. Let's bring the left foot to the left knee to the right tricep, lifting it up, Kundalini B. Maybe that back foot's rooted. That's okay. Finding our downward facing dog. Our weight comes into our hands. Putting the weight in the knuckles, behind the fingertips. Bending the knees, step, hop, or float into our crow two, and set yourself down into the chair pose. Vrschikasana. Finding that muscle all on the back. Those shoulders reaching for the hips as you bow the hips, opening the heart. Hands come to the heart, and we'll stand tall. Taking a moment, finding our breath. Are we warm? So we're going to go through a few more modified sun salutation Bs, this time adding a few more back bends and working toward the scorpion pose. And so you can watch me a few times with the scorpion before you try it to see how this works for you. And you might want to try it against the wall if you've never worked with scorpion before. Start with our chair pose, sinking those hips, opening the heart, looking up. Muscles on the back, core engages, pulling those back muscles in, pulling those ribs in, fold forwards, Ardha Utkatasana, our half chair pose. Keeping springy in those legs, keeping all the muscles on the back and the core, reaching down with your hands, and placing the weight as much on the hands as the feet. You can pick yourself up, either Lolasana or Bakasana. Either way, find a crow two, and see if you can lift your hips over your shoulders. And then bend the knees and find the back bend. Meeting me in the plank pose when you're ready. Find a strong plank, breathing as we squeeze the mat between the hands and feet, feeling all the energy in the body awaken and come to life as we move very slowly with as much control over each motion in every moment that we have in each muscle. Exercising as much control as we have over the body, letting the heart hover, chaturanga, and coming down to our bellies. Our hands reach for behind us so that scorpion pose really is an intense back bend, and it takes a lot of core to keep it in the place. And so one way of working towards that is our bow pose. The bow. So we'll bend the right foot and reach the top of the right foot, and you kick it up. You bring your left hand out in front of you. See how much of this side core you can work up. Squaring the shoulders forwards, and then releasing. Let's find a Sphinx pose. Our hands, forearms to the mat. Pulling the heart as far forwards as we can so we lengthen the spine. Feeling that muscles on the shoulders and the upper back. Come to left. And then the right arm comes to the top of the mat. The left hand reaches to the top of the left foot. Finding the half bow. Kicking into the foot. Opening the heart. Finding that back bend. Squaring the shoulders and heart to the top of the mat at the end of it to really work on those muscles on the side of the core and the obliques. And the psoas is really firing up. Bring our hands down beneath the shoulders. We're going to open up into a low cobra. Find a high cobra. And find our downward facing dog. Taking this as a resting pose to lift the tailbone as high as we can above us. And look at your belly button. Feeling that forward fold. Let's release. Raise the right foot up as high as we can. Right knee to the right elbow. Pick it up. And lift that right foot back out behind us. That right knee to the left elbow. So you can pick it up, Kundalini B. And step that right foot out back behind us. And this time we're gonna bring the knee into the chest and pick it up before we set ourselves down into Warrior One. Squaring the hips, squaring the shoulders. The back foot about 45 degrees forwards, if you can. Feeling these muscles on the sides of the shoulders and the side of the, lengthening the side body as the shoulders reach. Squeezing the mat between the feet as the arms lift. Squeezing those hands together overhead with all of the strength in your arms. And bringing those hands to our heart. And our hands down to frame the foot. Lifting that front foot off of the mat. We're going to kick it out behind us. Bring our feet back together. Finding a plank pose. We're going to do a chaturanga just to clear it out. Opening our heart. We're going to find a full bow pose this time. Reaching the top of that right foot and the top of that left foot. And you kick the feet into the arms and use the shoulders to lift the feet. How much height can you get on the heart? Maybe you can roll over onto the left side and kick that right foot. Feeling that shoulder open up. Feeling that heart really open. Making sure that you're bending the back bend from the crease beneath the bottom of the ribs, not from the lower back. Let's roll onto that other side. Kicking that foot into the hand. Using that to expand the back bend. And coming back to center. And we'll bring our hands beneath the shoulders, picking ourselves up into a low cobra. Let's go onto our forearms this time for a moment. Taking a forearm plank. Taking a child pose for a moment if you need it while you watch the demonstration. So you can also reach the scorpion from dolphin. If that's easier for some people than picking yourself up. It's really hard to talk in that pose. Sheesh. What I'm trying to do is lift the hips over the shoulders and reach the tips of the toes for the forehead. Quite a challenge. Let's work on our forearm scorpion pose. So we can just find, it might be easier to find how that back bend can feel. And the more that you add the back bend, the more balanced you can be, putting as much weight in top of your head, ahead of you. My demonstration without the talking was a little bit better form. But we're developing our form, and form is never perfect. And there are definitely days after practicing scorpion that I find myself just visualizing myself in a better form. How that would feel like. And I find that helps me when I am in my down dog. And I know, based on what I've seen in the mind's eye, that I can jump myself into crow 2, and the scorpion pose. and I believe in that thing that I've imagined, I find that can give me power. It's a little bit more challenging in the arms, doing it from handstand. Let's bring feet back into our chair pose. Opening those shoulders, let's bind the shoulders behind the back. Feels good right now. Lifting ourselves up and find a bound, forward fold. Releasing our hands down to the mat. We're going to start putting this stuff together. In our final sun salutation B, taking any resting poses you need before we follow through with our final chair pose. Not our final chair pose, we'll have one more at the end. Vrschikasana, the low chair. Muscles on the back and in the core, and using that to just put yourself into your hands. We're going to pick it up. Finding as much form as you can in this practice, and that's okay. Take the moment to visualize that next one. Taking the bow pose and imagining that this is how much back bend I can get in the scorpion. Feeling how that feels to bend the spine like this. Let's take a moment, opening the shoulders, adding something that might help loosen up a little bit. Finding a child's pose. And our downward facing dog. We're going to throw in our arm balances again this time. One-legged crow. And this time jump switch to Vrschikasana B. And jump switch back to crow. And we're going to do a little asana, crow 2, and down dog. As much form as we can find, and that's okay. Taking a child's pose. That'll take the place of the warrior 1, and a little arm balance this time. I like to open up the wrists. Seems to help. So let's try a little peacock. Using that as an opportunity to open the wrists. Fingers to the knees. You scoop your muscles all the way into the spot just above to the sides of the navel. Find your toes and you pick it up. Just like locust pose. Just like Savasana A. 10 breaths. And we'll find our child's pose. Their wrists are ready for a few more arm balances. And then there's one more shot of the scorpion. Let's lift the left knee. Crow 2, one-legged crow. Vrschikasana B. Crow. Low asana. Crow 2. Down dog. And child's pose. taking that moment. I think our arms feel what it's like to put the whole weight of the body on the arms. I believe I have the strength to do it. I believe I can visualize the coordination to fill the scorpion pose, to find that full expression of the back bend in the scorpion pose. And so, we're gonna do one more time on the forearms. And then another back bend, and then we'll do one more time with the handstand. I'm trying to pick it up. It doesn't always happen with the non-downhill. You gotta get as much weight over the top of your head to find the balance. That's the trick. On your child. We're going to find our kneeling pose and take a camel. The camel pose can help the back bend, so if you can reach back and grab the heels or blocks behind you, opening the heart. Breathing in a way that feeds the body the fire that it needs to fill these poses. Finding this camel pose, getting those hips up, finding that back bend between the head for your heels, and then releasing, hands to our heart. I can imagine that my back bend is getting that intense in this final attempt at the scorpion pose for this practice. So I'm going to take this moment before I fill the pose and close my eyes and just imagine the form of the pose with my hands overhead, about like that. And imagine those toes getting closer and closer to the top of the head. With every practice, with every breath, with every beat of the heart, growing stronger. Let's find the down dog. The weight into the fingertips, pedaling at the feet, strengthening the back, getting ready for our jump up into our crow. Taking crow 2 or Lola. Mulligan. Finding our crow. Crow 2. Vrschikasana. Vrschikasana. Setting ourselves down into our chair pose. That's about the breaking point. It's good to find the breaking point and do not pass it. Bring our hands to our heart. Whew. This is quite a challenge practice, even for me today. So you should be really proud of yourselves for even making this attempt at this advanced class. I'm going to be working on some more beginner's content after this by request. So I wanted to give you seasoned yogis out there, some of my students, some of these challenge practices that you can go back to and continue to practice and develop. And we'll come back to it again at a later point on another day. But until then, the light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. Yogi Wade signing off. We did the scorpion pose. Hi everyone, Yogi Wade. This is a cool down practice after what was kind of a pretty intense little scorpion practice today. So I'm definitely feeling it in the arms and the shoulders, in the back. We're going to do some seated poses and some light, gentle stretching to help us kind of loosen up for the evening. I have had some requests for more beginners content, more content for people who are trying to learn how to be more flexible, who are maybe not quite as flexible of a body type as me being someone who worked on my flexibility for many years, but yet have a predisposition towards that. And so some people are working on developing that and kind of how did I become, I guess, the yogi that I am, and the answer is continuous practice. Continuity of practice is the secret to success in all things. So here's just some gentle, loose stretching. Start with that Vrschikasana. You like to bend forward as much as you can with the flat back, keeping that back flat, keeping those shoulders reaching for the hips. And so that keeps you opening the hips, and you can bring the elbows to bring those legs and the knees closer to the ground while you bring your heart closer to your toes. And then you bow, curving the back as you try to smell your feet. Seeing how close you can get your nose to the floor. And then when our hips are open, you hook the toes with the fingers and the thumbs. We can try our YW35abc. This is kind of a wide-legged boat pose sort of thing. And we set it down into our wide-legged forward fold. Some people can do that gracefully without losing the toes. And a little bit of a coordination challenge. Let's fold back. Bring the left foot up behind us and the right toes ahead of us. We're going to try our laying Vrschikasana. So the right foot push out through the heel ahead of you. Bring it up. And bring it out to the right. So you keep your left shoulder and the left hip rooted down to the mat. Pushing out through that heel, through both heels. And then we'll bring that foot back above us and flip the grip. And you can bring that right foot to the left. And this time you stack the hips, but you keep both shoulders rooted onto the mat. And then we'll flip our feet, this time with the left foot, with the left hand, pushing out through the heels, through both heels. Both shoulders come flat, both hips stay flat. And you bring that left foot out to the left. Pushing out, opening those hips. Feel how that kind of releases the arm to use the leg to open it up a little bit. Almost as much as you're getting out of the hip sometimes after some of these arm practices. And we'll release. We're going to find the happy baby. You have the outsides of the feet. You get the hips and tailbone root to the mat. You really open those hips and you can rock side to side, giving the back a little bit of a massage. And we'll rock ourselves up into a seated position. We're going to do some hip cradling. This left hip in the arms like the baby cradle. And bring it over to the right. Opening the heart. You can bind the hands behind the back in a cow face, so the left hand behind the back to the left, the right hand behind the head, while the left leg is on top. And when you find the grip, push your head into the hand and bow. There's a good release for that shoulder. We're going to flip our grip and flip our feet. Hooking the fingers, opening the heart. Head pushes into the forearm as you bow. Breath into the shoulder. Lifting yourself up to center. Unwinding the grip. We're going to find any form of a lotus or a half lotus that works for you. Take a moment to sit and to feel what it's like just to sit here, to be alive, to be present. Noticing every sensation on the surface of the skin. There's so many things going on inside of us right now. You can take a moment to be almost overcome by them. And then we can take a moment to discern which thoughts, which experiences, which desires, what pose and what practice is the most valuable for us in this moment, here and now, where we are in our life. We can build our belief that through this practice we are developing the yogi who is more balanced in the mind and able to respond without reaction to the circumstances of life. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing that journey with me to become that better yogi on the mat and in the world. The love and light in me honors the love and light in you. Namaste.